Hello friends, welcome to our channel TechStrength. Hope all of you are doing well. Today we are on the first day of 2021 and are writing the first page of 2021. So wishing you all a very happy new year. Well, now this new year is bringing us various to-do things in GST as many provisions are going to be effected from the given date, and among such amendments in this video, we are concerned with e-invoicing. So when we talk about the concept of e-invoicing, it was first discussed in 35th GST Council meeting, and the concept was more polished into 37th GST Council meeting with the various objectives in mind. When we talk about the objectives of implementation of e-invoicing, the major objective of such e-invoicing was to curb fake invoicing happening in the GST and real-time reporting of the transactions happening all around and automation of data. And further, the detailed verification of invoices can be done by the officers in real-time basis in the later point in time when e-invoicing is being implemented in its full fledged. So currently, the e-invoicing has already been implemented for the taxpayers whose aggregate turnover exceeded 500 crores in a financial year. Now, what do we mean by in a financial year? So in that case, wherever the aggregate turnover of the taxpayer exceeded 500 crores in 17-18 or 18-19 or 19-20, meaning thereby in any of the financial year, if the aggregate turnover of the taxpayer exceeded 500 crores, he was required to be follow the provisions of e-invoicing. Now, what do we mean by the automation of data? So automation will be there by the implementation of e-invoicing in the sense that invoice generated by way of e-invoicing shall be automatically transmitted to GSTR1, and taxpayers shall have ease in preparing their monthly statement of outward supplies, and subsequently the data will flow from GSTR1 to GSTR2A and 2B and then subsequently 3B. Also, the data of e-invoices can also be transmitted to e-way bill, and the taxpayer shall be required to fill the details of vehicle only. Now, when we talk about the portals which are there in the GST, as far as return filing, registration, notices, response to notices are concerned, the taxpayers are using the portal gst.gov.in, and for the generation of e-way bill, the taxpayers are separately registered on the e-way bill portal. And now for e-invoicing, there is a separate portal which is called as Invoice Registration Portal, IRP in short, whereby the taxpayers will have to register themselves for the purpose of generating the e-invoices. So the taxpayers will have 3 login credentials as far as GST is concerned. But the one ease which is being provided is that the taxpayers who are already registered on the e-way bill portal may use those credentials on the e-invoicing portal. Having discussed about the portals and automation of data by implementation of e-invoicing, now let us discuss what e-invoicing actually is. So whether e-invoicing means that if the invoice is into an electronic form will be considered as an e-invoice? No, the answer to this question is a no, whereby e-invoicing means the invoice which shall have the invoice reference number and QR code, and for that matter, Rule 48 Sub-Rule 4 is being implemented. Now, what invoice reference number is? As far as invoice reference number is concerned, invoice reference number is 64-digit hash, which shall be generated by the invoice registration portal, and details of supplier, recipient, goods supplied, services supplied, value, etc. shall be captured into the QR code along with the digital signature, and which shall be required to be put onto the invoice, which the taxpayer used to generate in their normal course of business through their accounting software, SAP, ERP, or maybe whatever software they are using for the generation of the invoices. And such invoices will require to have now that invoice reference number and QR code. So broadly, e-invoice is the invoice which the taxpayers used to make by incorporating the particulars as required by Rule 46 along with the invoice reference number and QR code. We will discuss in this video how to get this IRN and QR code, but before that, let us discuss on what documents e-invoicing is applicable and on which taxpayers e-invoicing is applicable. So as far as documents are concerned, e-invoicing is applicable for tax invoices, credit notes, or debit notes which are being generated by the taxpayers. And e-invoicing is applicable for all the B2B transactions. What do we mean by B2B transactions? Uh, when we refer to B2B transactions, these are the transactions whereby the supplier is registered under the GST law and the recipient is also registered in the GST law, and that registration has to be in accordance with Section 22 or Section 24. So the taxpayers who fall into the maybe crossing the threshold in terms of Section 22 for the purpose of taking the registration, or the taxpayers who are required to be registered mandatorily in terms of Section 24, irrespective of their threshold turnover, will be considered as the registered taxpayers in the GST, and whatever transactions are taking place between those taxpayers will be considered as B2B transactions, and e-invoicing is applicable on such B2B transactions. So moving towards as to which taxpayers are covered by provisions of e-invoicing, we have discussed that e-invoicing has already been implemented for the taxpayers where their aggregate turnover exceeded 500 crores in any of the financial years starting from 17-18 to 19-20, and that e-invoicing has already been implemented from 1st October 2020. But now the e-invoicing is being made applicable for the taxpayer whose aggregate turnover exceeded 100 crores in any of the financial year starting from 17-18 to 19-20. So any taxpayers whose aggregate turnover was maybe less than 100 crores in 19-20, but was there in the 18-19 as more than 100 crores, in that case the taxpayers are required to follow the provisions of e-invoicing from today itself, that is 1st January 2020. When we talk about the history of e-invoicing provisions, so the e-invoicing was supposed to be implemented from 1st January 2020 as a pilot project. Now it has been made mandatorily. It was to be implemented mandatorily from 1st April 2020, but due to pandemic and everything, things got shifted, and now also the e-invoicing is being implemented in the phased manner. Phased manner in the sense that the e-invoicing has already been implemented for the taxpayers whose aggregate turnover exceeded 500 crores, and now the e-invoicing is being made applicable for the taxpayers whose aggregate turnover exceeds 100 crores. Now, with effect from 1st January, the taxpayers are required to follow the e-invoicing provisions. Now let us discuss how the e-invoices shall be generated. For generating the e-invoices, various API-based tools, DSP-based tools, mobile application and offline tools are available. In the given case, the taxpayers are required to generate their invoice in the normal course of business from their accounting software, and then details of such invoices has to be put into the API DSP or offline tools, post which a JSON shall be generated, which will be capturing the data of invoices generated by the taxpayer and will be uploaded on the e-invoice portal. And portal will validate the data of such JSON and reward with the IRN and QR code. Such IRN and QR code shall be required to be put on the invoice generated by the taxpayer, and by way of e-invoice, invoices shall be digitally signed, so that taxpayers are not required to sign the invoices again. The question which comes to mind is what is QR code? So QR code will be capturing, the details of supplier, recipient, value of invoices and HSN in the standardized manner. So attention of viewers is also solicited towards the fact that once the e-invoice will be generated, the particulars of invoice cannot be changed. So let us say if a taxpayer commits a mistake in generating an invoice and uploads that details of such invoices onto the invoicing portal. So after that, he comes to know that there has been a mistake and he wants to rectify that mistake on the invoice. So he cannot, amend the invoice. The only option available to the taxpayer is to, cancel the e-invoice and generate the new invoice. And the cancellation can also be done within 24 hours of generation of invoice. If the taxpayer comes to know about the mistake after 24 hours, so in that case, the e-invoice cannot be cancelled. So the taxpayers will have to be cautious at the time of filing the GSTR1 and putting the details, because as we have discussed, that there is going to be a automation of data. The moment you will put the details into e-invoices, such data will be there into GSTR1, and at the time of filing of GSTR1, the taxpayer has to be cautious as to which detail is correct, because that automation is for the purpose of reference only. So the importance of e-invoicing is also well understood by the objectives, as we have discussed earlier. But businesses still into manual invoicing are going to face the challenges. And the importance of e-invoicing is also understood by the fact that it will be the document by which the credit can be taken. Earlier, the tax invoice in terms of Rule 46 was the document on the basis of which the taxpayers were able to take the input tax credit. But now this e-invoice will be the document through which the taxpayers will be able to take the credit. I hope with this, I hope this video helps all of you to have an idea about e-invoicing. For any queries or doubts, please feel free to put your queries on the comment box to this video. And thank you for being connected to us. A very happy new year to all of you.